wo Neugier auf Pferdemedizin trifft. Ob Reiter, Pfleger, Besitzer oder einfach Pferde begeistert. Der Podcast ist für alle, die mehr wissen wollen. Für die Neugierigen, die Engagierten oder Pferdenerds. In jeder Folge werfen wir gemeinsam einen Blick hinter die Kulissen der Pferdemedizin mit Experten von der Pferdeklinik Niederlands und weiteren Fachleuten. Klar, verständlich und voller Erkenntnis. Der Podcast ist Ihre verlässliche Quelle für fundiertes Pferdewissen, direkt von Menschen, die das den ganzen Tag leben. Learn more to care better. Today we are talking to Professor Marco Gandini and Professor Gessica Giusto, two colic surgery specialists from Italy with whom we are developing a close working relationship. In summer, they will be holding the first colic surgery course at our clinic together with our surgeon Dr. Nico Bolz. We are very looking forward to it. So, Marco and Gessica, nice to have you here in our podcast. Could you please briefly introduce yourselves, who you are, from where you are, and what are you doing?
Hi everyone, my name is Gessica Giusto and I'm really happy to be here today. I graduated in veterinary medicine in 2013. I spent some years working as a equine practitioner in ambulatory practice. I have always collaborated with the university on research project, and in 2019 I joined PhD program at the University of Turin, where I became a researcher in equine surgery. Since 2022, I have held the position of Associate Professor in Equine Surgery at University of Turin. My main areas of interest and expertise are emergency surgery, particularly colic and wound management in horses. Besides my passion for medicine, I love swimming in my free time.
Nice, thank you. And Marco, how about you?
Well, very close story to that of Jessica, just a little bit older. And I graduated in Turin as well. And I've actually started my career as a vet in England for a couple of years in an ambulatory practice. Then I came back to Italy, joined a PhD program as well, and became first a researcher and then a professor of equine surgery as well at the University of Turin. So my area of interest are emergency and critical care of horses, and laparoscopy is also another important interest of mine besides colic surgery. I've got two daughters with whom I like spend some time every now and then, and especially hiking on mountains. That's my favorite thing to do with them.
Nice to hear. So, you are two both veterinarians, not a normal profession. So, what made you decide to become an equine surgeon?
Well, I guess you could say it started with a love for horses and the fascination with the puzzles. As a kid, I was that person who always wanted to know why something didn't work and then try to fix it. Combine that curiosity with a deep respect for these amazing animals, and surgery kind of chose me. There's something incredible regarding about being able to take a horse that's really trouble, whether it's colic, a fracture, or something more unusual, and give it a second chance. Let's be honest, no two cases are even the same. Horses don't read the textbooks, so every day is a bit of an adventure.
Yeah, the same for me. I've been passionate about horses for all of my life, and again, when it was the time to choose a university, that became quite a consequence of my passion to go into veterinary medicine. When in veterinary medicine school, I started to approach surgery, and that became my passion, other than horses as well.
So colic surgeries are every time an emergency and you need to respond immediately. So that's not every time easy with your private life. How you can manage this with your private life, that you also have some free time? How is this working?
Well, it's not easy. It's not easy. Equine surgery means work long hours, night shift, emergency that don't always happen at 9 o'clock in the morning. Actually, they more than often happens at 2 o'clock during the night. So I think we've learned a little bit over time to find out that the balance is not just 50-50 split every day between work and life, but it is a matter of making the most out of hours we can get for free and spend it the best way with our families or doing what we like the most other than being equine surgery.
So nice to hear. I think we can hear that you both love your job and do this with your heart. Very nice. So when we go more in the medical part of colic surgery, so colic surgery is a major topic in equine medicine. What difficulties, worries do you experience in your daily work with the clients?
Yes, colic surgery is definitely one of the big topics, both for vets and for horse owners. I think one of the biggest challenges in my daily work is helping clients make very quick decisions in very stressful situations. Imagine being told your horse needs emergency surgery, possibly at the 2 o'clock in the night, with a lot of unknowns. It's overwhelming. Owners worry about the risk, the cost, the recovery, and understandably so. These are beloved animals, and colic can feel like a sudden storm out of nowhere. My job isn't just to operate. It's also to guide people through that storm, step by step, and with honesty and compassion. One of the trickiest situations is when the horse is older. People often ask me, isn't he too old for surgery? But here's the thing, age isn't a disease. What really matters is the horse's overall condition and expected quality of life. A 20 years old horse isn't necessarily at the end of the road of his life. Many still have 8, 10 years, even more good year ahead. So instead of just looking at the number, we look at the big picture and ask, what does this horse still have to live for? That helps us make a better decision together for vet and the owners.
So you'll have a lot to manage when you have an emergency case. You not only have to manage the horse to operate it, you also have the clients who has a lot of questions before they can decide if they want to do colic surgery or not. Yeah, a lot of work in an emergency case. And yes, and with each client it's different. So a lot of clients don't know the process of a colic surgery exactly. So you need to do time to explain it during the emergency, how the operation is working. So maybe you can shortly explain to us how the surgery is working, that maybe when a client has the decision to do a surgery or not, maybe they know it already, how it works, so that they can easily decide in this case.
Yeah, well, first thing is that referring a horse to a hospital that does colic surgery doesn't mean that the horse goes straight to surgery. And in many cases, we are so lucky that the horse comes to the clinic and is reassessed, and we find out that it doesn't need surgery, it can be managed medically and conservatively. So that's the first thing to understand and to know. Then obviously there are cases where instead the horse needs surgery and needs surgery straight away. We don't have to waste time. So in both cases, there is a team of people from the anesthesia, from surgery, and also nurses and technicians that take care of the horse. The horse is put under anesthesia and then brought to the operating theater where we perform the surgery. In this type of surgery, sometimes we need to remove pieces of intestines that are too damaged to be saved, but many times we just need to reposition the intestines and recover the horse. After the surgery is finished, obviously we have to wait the horse for waking up from anesthesia, and then one of the most important part is the care that is taken of the horse in the following days. And then again there is quite a lot of people that is taking care of the horse in the next 5 to 10 days to be sure that no complications arise and the horse can be discharged home. So it's quite a huge work that starts when the horse arrives and is not finished until he luckily go home, and is done by a lot of people. That is his role and his importance in the process.
Very, very interesting to hear how this works, and also respect for other people who stay in the background and come when an emergency comes in with the whole team. So a colic is a big danger for a horse as itself. So if you do an operation, what are the biggest risks for a horse with a colic surgery?
Like any major surgery, colic surgery does come with risks. I always say it's not just about getting the horse through the operation, it's also about how they recover afterwards. One of the biggest risks during surgery is the condition of the intestine. If a part of it has lost blood supply and is too damaged, we may need to remove it, which makes the surgery longer and the recovery a bit more complicated. After surgery, we worry about things like infection, inflammation of the intestine, or the incision not healing properly. And of course, the risk of colic happening again in the future, although that's not as common as many people fear. It's also worth saying that large, strong horses waking up from anesthesia can be tricky. That's why we take recovery very seriously and use special padded rooms and close monitoring to make sure they wake up safely and without injury.
Yeah, so anesthesia is also a big topic for your clients. So we will talk in another podcast about this topic. So if anyone is interested in that, herein. So like you told before, the recovery process is also a big process for the horse and very important. So how are the chances of recovery for the horse from a colic surgery?
That's the question every owner wants to ask. The good news is that the survival rates for colic surgery have improved a lot over the years. Today, on average, about 80 to 85% of horses make it through surgery and go home. Of course, the outcome depends on several things: how quickly the horse gets to the clinic, what type of colic it is, and the horse's general health. Time really matters. When in doubt, don't wait. The earlier we intervene, the better the chances we are. What's also important to say is the surgery is just the beginning, and recovery takes time and careful management, and not every case is straightforward. But we do with good care and commit honor, which most of them are, and the long-term outlook can be excellent. So yes, colic surgery is serious, but it's not a hopeless situation. Far from it, it's often the first step toward many more good years together.
Okay, so you talk about the survival. What about the chances to go back with the horse to previous activities? How about that?
That's a good question, and Obviously, survival is the main outcome. We look for a colic surgery in the beginning, but then for many owners, return to the previous activity of the horse is also important. Either if it's for a breeding mare, for a pressure horse, or for a show jumper, for example. And actually, we had done quite a few researches on that, and we recently published papers on the return to sport activity of show jumping horses after colic surgery. And although the recovery time can look like a bit long, it takes 6 months to get into competition again, because we need a proper healing of the wound mostly. When the return to the activity, to the show jumping activity of horses has reached the 80%. So that means that 80% of horses that are competing before surgery, they will go back to competition again after surgery at a previous or even higher level than before. So that's a very important result for many owners.
Okay, very interesting. Very long time, but it can be done. So, colic, the best would be if it's not happening. I know it's a difficult topic, but is there something can be done to prevent the colic?
Well, some colic unfortunately cannot be prevented at all, and that's the most severe type of colic, like strangulations, where the intestine is likely to be resected, and unfortunately for those kind of colic there is not that much we can do. Simply happens. For another good number of type of colic, and there are infections or gas colic, there is a lot we can do, and the advice is to seek the opinion of your vets, of the horses' vets, because they can do a lot for the management, for the well-being of the horse altogether, so that he can have a more physiological life, and so prevent quite a good bunch of colics eventually.
Okay, so we can do some things apart to prevent the colic. So, is there any particular case that had affected you during your working time as a surgeon?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll never forget a particular patient, a 26-year-old gelding who came to us for colic surgery. Now, most people would already be hesitant with a horse that age, but his owner didn't. She said he's taught and he's still enjoying life, so we have to try in surgery. And in this case, we found a section of intestine that was too damaged to save, so we had to remove it and reconnect everything. And he recovered beautifully and went back to his paddock life, and honestly looked better than before. And then, believe it or not, but 2 years later he came back with a completely different issues, and he had another type of colic, and again surgery was the only option. And it was the same story. We had to remove another portion of intestine, and again he pulled through. And the horse had 9 lives and maybe a few extra in reserve, I think.
Very beautiful story. You also have a case you can remember?
Yeah, well, obviously we have a lot of cases in our mind, and there are some successful cases and some not successful cases. One that really strikes us our mind is a donkey we had a few months ago in our clinic that had colic surgery, And unfortunately he had a few complications afterwards because he was quite an old donkey, and it took more than a month to recover. So he stayed with us a lot of time, and he became part of a clinic. The thing that is coming to mind is that afterwards we sent it home and we received a picture of this donkey into the clubhouse of the stable, leaking sugar from the desk because he was escaped from his paddock. So that was very nice to see how healthy was doing.
So nice stories.
Okay.
So we're slowly coming to an end. My last question to you is, what is your take-home message you want to give to the clients?
Well, as we said before, seeking a veterinary advice as soon as you think your horse is not in itself, and eventually asking for an early referral to a clinic where the horse can be reassessed or only put under the best possible care, like an intensive care, can resolve some type of colics, and also prevent some colics to become worse. So that's certainly a point. When surgery is certainly an invasive surgery, but nowadays with the state-of-the-art technologies and knowledge we have both in anesthesia and surgery, we can achieve results that can be very good also in complicated cases, and we are actually saving a lot of horse lives.
What is your take-home message for the clients?
Yeah, but remember this: the colic surgery is with a need to save life of the horse or donkey, donkey with this problem, and I'm sure yearly referral are the key for the goal. And I repeat, the age is not a limit to recover from surgery, and the oldest and the ages are not a pathology, and for concluder, the discuss the competition horse can return to previous level for horse jumping, and for I think it's for sport horse competition. It's like the same.
Thank you very much, Marco and Gessica, to being part of our podcast, and thank you very much for your time. So we will see us in summer, in July, for the colic surgery course here at the Pferde Clinic Netherlands. We are really looking forward to it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you, Julia. See you in summer. Bye.